the 4 great Bodhisattva vows. Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to help them all. Delusions are countless. We vow to see through them all. Opportunities to awaken are infinite. We vow to embrace them all. The Buddha way is endless. We vow to embody it. All right, so we'll commence the proceedings with 15 minutes of seated meditation. We chant the Gatha on opening the sutras. This Dharma, incomparably profound and minutely subtle, is rarely encountered, even in hundreds of thousands of millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, hold and maintain it. May we completely realize the true mind of all Buddhas. Great. Everybody relax, sit comfortably, because tonight the Dharma Talk is coming from our Dharma brother Minhui.
Thank you guys. And I'm sorry that you have to hear me twice in 1 month, but this was the original schedule. And so we just kind of fell off the schedule when Venerable Umsan got feeling a little under the weather a few weeks ago. So we decided it was just easier to keep the same schedule and not throw everybody else off. So I'm very happy to talk to you guys tonight. And I'm going to talk to you about something that is near and dear to all followers of the Buddha, and that's compassion. But before we do that, I just wanted to recognize, if we could, maybe with just a few seconds of silence, that the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh passed away this last week at 95 years of age. And in the West, he was a teacher of Zen to nearly everyone, with the plethora of books that he wrote, with the number of Dharma talks that he gave and recorded. So if you join me in just remembering what a great Bodhisattva that he was for just a moment of silence. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I know some of you may have had the opportunity even to watch some of the services that Deer Park Monastery has done. I watched some of the ones that were live streamed from Vietnam, and though my wife speaks Vietnamese, I don't. It was just interesting to watch. And one of the things that I marveled about as I watched his the ceremonies they were having for him in Vietnam was there were monks visiting from lots of different traditions, not just his own. And he was revered by lots of people, and monastics and lay people alike from a lot of different traditions. And it reminded me a great deal of what we call the Dharma here in America. And if you think to yourself for just a moment, in America, we are a composite or a hodgepodge of different traditions and sects that have come together to practice the Dharma. And in Five Mountain Zen Order, which is one of the reasons I am a member of Five Mountain Zen Order, is that Venerable Wanji embraced that. And it meant a lot to me that I, who had studied for several years in a Pure Land tradition and in a Theravada tradition, and now in a Zen tradition, could still find the Dharma all right here. And it draws me to the writings of the third Zen patriarch, Zengsan, the third Chan patriarch, I guess I should say, Zengsan. And in his book, I think it's called Xing Xing Ming, he wrote, it was a book of his poems that he wrote, but in his book, he wrote, there is one Dharma, not many. Distinctions arise from the needs of the ignorant. And that, to me, is the Dharma that we practice, more in the West than in anywhere else. And I like that. I like that maybe one of you guys studied with a Tibetan monk for some time, or a lama or a rinpoche from Tibet, or maybe like me, you went to a Pure Land temple for a while, or maybe you came from a Soto or Rinzai Japanese Zen school before you came and started practicing with us. Maybe like me, you studied Theravada and the Pali Canon for a number of years. And yet here we all are. We sit and we talk about the Dharma every week. And so, I don't know, maybe 6 months, 8 months ago or so, I started reading a book by Joseph Goldstein. You may know Joseph Goldstein. He has been a student of Zen. He's been a student of Vipassana meditation. He's been a student of Tibetan traditions. He, to me, epitomizes what we all are. And he said, in his book he wrote called The One Dharma, he said, in the One Dharma emerging Western Buddhism, the method is mindfulness, the expression is compassion, the essence is wisdom. And I thought to myself, that encapsulates what we teach and what we practice. So my topic tonight, I've gone on a little bit already, my topic tonight is compassion. And so I'm going to throw that out there to you, but I'm going to argue, first of all, I'm going to say compassion is not a feeling. Compassion is not a mindset. Compassion is an action. So now I ask you, and you can answer if you want to, or you can just rhetorically think about it and I'll go on. What is compassion to you? So I'm not going to use this as a gotcha, but I'm going to read something to you that the Buddha said shortly after his own enlightenment. And by the Buddha, I mean Sakyamuni Buddha. So Sakyamuni Buddha, shortly after his enlightenment, when he started teaching his first 60 followers, and all 60 of them became arahants, or enlightened beings, here's what the Buddha said to them. He said, "Go forth, O bhikkhus, for the good of the many, for the happiness of the many, out of compassion for the world, for the good, benefit, and happiness of people and devas. Let not two go by one way. Teach the Dhamma. Excellent in the beginning, excellent in the middle, excellent in the end. Proclaim the noble life, altogether perfect and pure. Work for the good of others. You have done your duties." So there, the Buddha talked about compassion, but it was an action. Go teach the Dhamma. One time somebody asked the Buddha, one of his followers asked the Buddha, why are you teaching these people who really don't believe the same way that we do, and they don't have the same type of morals and ideas that we do? He said, I teach them out of compassion. So to me, that was very powerful message that the Buddha gave us, was that he taught out of compassion. And when we share the Dhamma with each other, or we share the Dharma with our friends or relatives, or maybe just together when we sit and practice our Zen, it's an action, and we share it out of compassion. But it's deeper than that. And it's deeper than that in that we chant, or we repeat every week, the 4 great Bodhisattva vows. In the Mahayana tradition, we have this concept of being a Bodhisattva and how we are able to serve people by being a Bodhisattva. And it reminds me that, I see Bryant here, and I know he took the Bodhisattva course that Buddhist Studies Online gave. And it reminds me of all the ways that we can learn to practice and live a life as a bodhisattva. And so one of the things that I do when I practice alone or with a group outside of Five Mountains Inn is I always recite either the four great bodhisattva vows, or I do a portion of the bodhisattva prayer, um, which um, which to me is just kind of it's a shortened version of the prayer that was included in the um, uh, help me, Brian. I always mix up the name of the Shantideva book, but of the way of practicing the bodhisattva life. And so so one of the things that I do is recite that, because it sets me on my right course as I am ready to or preparing myself to share those parts of the Dharma that are important to me and that I know are important to all of you guys. And so when we want to be a bodhisattva, when we want to help all sentient beings, it's an action verb, this compassion. And yes, in the English language, compassion is a noun, but we use it as an action verb. And so I wanted to read to you something that Sung San, our great teacher, said. He wrote in his book, The Compass of Zen, and I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, have read The Compass of Zen. But this is what he said. He said, compassionate action is not some idea or action, it is universal substance itself. Another name for that is bodhisattva. These actions are not for me because I have perceived that there is no I or even any actions. All beings and I are not separate. Their suffering is my suffering, the same substance. Their happiness is my happiness. So I can only function for all beings. In Sino-Korean, this is called Deja Debi Shin, great love and great compassion mind. This is the way of the absolute. Two great things come to mind to me when I read that passage from Sung San. And first of all, you notice the teaching in there of not self. That no self concept, that I am not separate from you. There is no I and there is no you. There is only the wholeness of the one. And that is how he encapsulates or encompasses the whole of the bodhisattva idea. So I think to myself, in our tradition, which stems in great deal from the teachings of Sung San, because both the Venerable Wanji and several of our founding Zen masters were students of Sung San. One of the things that comes to mind to me is two things that Sung San taught. One is, when we take the 5 precepts, or when we take any precepts, Sung San always shrink them down to do no harm. The precepts that we do are not to harm other people. And when we understand that, when we understand in our core not to harm other people, then the bodhisattva ideal comes out. How may I help you? And how wise that was, that's the legacy that Sung San left us when we take our precepts. You know, we take the precepts, and last week we did our repentance, which kind of is it was the wolf moon, and we did the repentance prayer, and I always like doing that. I think it's a way of rejuvenating the mind a bit, to set ourselves straight that, these precepts that we take or whatever, they're not commandments in the Judeo-Christian ideal. They are ideals for us to strive towards, for us to learn to be better people. So as I take these and strive to be a better person, I know that I'm not trying to do harm to others in any way. by my words, by my actions, by um, by even my thoughts. But it doesn't stop there. True compassion, the true Bodhisattva ideal, is as Sung San said, how may I help you? And that's the essence of the four great Bodhisattva vows that we take. That's the essence of the Bodhisattva prayer that I recite. If you give me just 1 minute, I didn't have it open because I didn't think to share with you guys that that's what I do when I practice, because I do that on my own, so to speak, you know. But I have a, if I can pull it up real quick, I have a, I have it written down here so I can just tell you what it says. It says this: with a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then, may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. So I leave that with you guys today, just as something to think about. That compassion is not just a thought. It's not just a concept of let's be nice to people. It is an action. How may I help you? And then actually doing the helping. So I hope that is something to think about as you commit yourselves to live a bodhisattva life, that we think about it as an action verb and not just as a noun. So thank you guys.
Thank you, brother. So we'll resume with our next 15 minutes of seated meditation. So we'll chant the Heart Sutra. Mahaprajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, when practicing deeply the Prajna Paramita, perceives that all five skandhas are empty and is safe from all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. Shariputra, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease. Therefore in emptiness, no form, no feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and so forth, until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance, and also no extinction of it, and so forth, until no old age and death, and also no extinction of them, no suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment, with nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva depends on Prajna Paramita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, one dwells in nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on Prajna Paramita and attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore know that Prajna Paramita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So proclaim the Prajna Paramita mantra. Proclaim the mantra which says Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. I just want to latch on to something that Minwee talked about earlier. At this point is where we normally go through our little segment of personal dedications of merit. And whether you think there is merit or there is no merit, or merit is empty or whatever, just drop all of that, because that's totally irrelevant. The reason that we dedicate merit is to get ourselves out of our own way, to get ourselves out of our own heads. Because if we're dedicating merit to someone else, that means we're doing something that's selfless in a number of different ways, not only an Atman sort of selfless. All sentient beings are one seamless body and pass quickly from birth to death. We remember those who cared for us and who are gone, those who are ill, those who are at war, who are hungry and who are in pain. May they all have peace. We especially would like to dedicate our service to Wanji Dharma, Elias Lynch, Thich Nhat Hanh, Brian Unger, Mickey Jade, Rose Mosner. Is there anyone that you would like to add yourself to this list?
Yo, Mike here. I would like to add Russell Maroon Shoatz, elderly Black Panther and Black Liberation Army member who passed away last December. Rest in power.
Prior?
The Paul Foley family.
Any others? All Buddhas throughout time and space, all honored ones, Bodhisattva Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Maha Prajna Paramita. Life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly by and opportunities to awaken are easily lost. Strive to realize your true nature. Do not squander your time by night or day. So, thank you for joining us this week. For those of you on the Zoom call, feel free to hang out for the Dharma chat. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, see you next time.